here in Atlanta. Now in December, the AT&T Winter National Championships, the A final for the women's 200-yard individual medley. And fine swimmer at Stanford, Ella Easton, holding the records. And we've got a veteran. We have an Olympian, Melanie Margalis, our first Olympian that we see, United States Olympian, I should say, that we see in this year's Winter Nationals. And she was fourth, second to Maya Dorado in the trials this year, Rowdy, and just off the podium, fourth in the Rio race.
To Maya Dorado, who ended up winning the bronze medal, but was part of that 800 freestyle relay, Ted, that won the gold medal from the preliminary performance. Still gets that gold.
And there it is, Olympic gold medalist, so special. Just shy of her 25th birthday. Lives in, again, in Athens, Georgia, very close here, just east of Atlanta.
Great swimming family. Robert, her brother, was a longtime national team swimmer.
All right, youth again here. 3 17-year-olds in this field. Nicole Popov, Kristen Romano, and Vanessa Pearl. And then at the very bottom in lane 1, a real veteran, Danielle Herman from Clovis. That's the Central Valley of California. Clovis, California. 29-year-old Danielle Herman in a national championship final. She's second to Margalis in the first 50.
Margalis, certainly the class of this field. Her best time, that is about 3.5 seconds faster than anybody else in the field. That's one of the fastest times in history. In fact, she's the 7th fastest performer that has ever swum this race. You mentioned Ella Easton, the fabulous freshman last year anyway for Stanford, who went the fastest time in history. She'll be a sophomore. Great back half of her race. Breaststroke and obviously freestyle. Remember that 800 free relay you mentioned earlier. Much better, so she's only going to get better and extend this lead even more this second half of the race. Very good breaststroker. Strategy is so important here. You've got to work the turns. We talked about that in the 500 and now the IM, the transition from one stroke to the next, to have that building feeling and kind of separate this race almost into 450s instead of thinking of it as a 200.
Is that different than the 400 IM?
Yeah, because the 400 IM, the fitness level is so much more important. Mechanics become a little bit more important in the 400 IM. You can kind of let things go here. You have to have a much higher pain tolerance in the 400 IM. Here you can kind of get away with it, especially in the short course version, and she is blowing away the field.
So Melanie Margalis will come in, and well, that's an outstanding time. That's only a half second off her personal best. 1:53.16. In fact, that's going to be the 10th fastest time ever. It's going to give her 2 of the top 10.
Well, you know, the great thing about that swim is her best time was from when she was at the University of Georgia at the NCAA championships almost 3 years ago. So again, at 24, to keep finding that way to get better and better. Here's the halfway point. She flips at the backstroke, arguably her weakest stroke. His backstroke, maybe butterfly, but boy, she gets really good really quickly when she turns into the breaststroke right here. You have to resist that temptation to kind of glide too long here in the breaststroke and in the freestyle. Great finish at the end. The execution of that race was just about perfect for Melanie Margalis.
Well, an excellent swim. Clearly one of the best in a long time. 10th fastest time ever in this 200-yard short course yard IM. And so Melanie Margalis wins the national championship, and she's with Trenny.
All right, we're going to ask you about the new tattoo in a second, but first we want to start. Rowdy said that race looked almost perfect. You executed it so well. How do you feel just a few months removed from the Rio Games?
It's just so exciting to be back racing. It's been a long 3 months of not being behind the block, so I'm just so happy to be back there.
How did you feel? You looked pretty steady. Were you surprised at how steady you were in the pool?
I was hurting. The last 50, I was like, didn't know if I was going to finish, but Yeah.
You did, and you're okay. Okay, now we want to see the, when did you get the Olympic rings? How shortly after Rio?
I think like a few days after. It was pretty fast, so I could heal before I started swimming again.
I did want to ask you one last quick question. When you were in Tampa, you were greeted at the airport upon your return. What has that experience been like to be a gold medalist and to have so much admiration from so many swimming fans?
It was really awesome, and I've met so many people since that said, like, I was watching you, I was cheering for you, and it's just so awesome to know that there's this whole community behind you cheering for you.
All right, congratulations here, Melanie.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
I don't know, have you seen many of the rings on the forearm before? I haven't.
Not on the forearm,
Yeah.
but boy, that is very popular to get those rings.
the
I
rings,
almost
yeah.
got them myself a couple years ago. My wife said, "No way, you're way too old to be getting a tattoo."
Well, you know, that, Rowdy, is just further proof of what I've long suspected. Judy is one of the smartest people I've ever met.
No doubt about it.
All right, so the top three.
Yeah, that was a really good swim by Margalis. Unbelievable. And it does feel good to get back in the water and race. You know, you've been out.
There we go. A little slip up there. They've got second and third. A little bit out of sync there. A big smile for the winner, Melanie Margalis. She's had all kinds of international competition, Pan Pacs, World Championships, and her first Olympics in Rio. Now a national championship at the AT&T. Winners the men's 200 IM. Straight ahead.